Alright, so I gotta start out with this video is because I watched another video. Picked up a camera, and as you see, the title says the Canon Powershot Pro 1. That's this little boy right here. Flipping through YouTube one day and came upon YouTube channel called Snappiness. If you've never seen it, I'll leave a link down below. Go check him out. Has some really cool videos, but he's mainly old cameras, old style cameras, which seems like what I lean towards a little bit more here and there. But this is quite the unique camera. We'll go over the specs and everything of it. This is a super clean version. The only problem it has is right there. Let's see if you can see it right there. The rubber eyepiece is broke. I don't know how that happened. I'm going to try to figure out a way to save it, because I doubt you can buy one of these darn things anywhere. So there's that. But let's talk about the specs on the camera, and then we'll get a little bit more into my thoughts on the camera. Alright, so this is the Canon Powershot Pro 1. Is a digital camera that was announced in February of 2004, discontinued the first quarter of 2006. It has an 8 megapixel CCD sensor. Now, you know how I feel about the CCD sensors. I think they give you really good color, and you'll see that in the example photos that I've taken with this thing. But I think they give you some really cool photos. But there's something else that helps with this particular camera and getting you some good colors. It shoots RAW. That's one of my big takeaways when I found it, was it shoots RAW. But Canon completely dropped the high-end Pro Super Zoom camera model line after the Pro 1. So there was not actually a successor to this camera. Now I'll go over a little bit of specifics of it, and then I've got some highlighted points that I found out there. Shoots RAW photos, that's my big thing about it. ISO 50 to 400. Focal length is 28 to 200. Let me show you something real quick. Let me turn it on. To get to that particular thing, you turn this, and this extends the lens. Now, that's as far as it goes. Now you can start cranking it back just ever so slightly. You get to each incremental phases of the lens, and there's that. Now, the other coolness about this camera that, well, it depends on who you talk to, read, that kind of thing. I was trying to find where it is, where the distinction is. It's on the lens somewhere. There it is. You see, there's a red L on this. So this is an L lens, so they say. It is also using ultrasonic motor. This lens is really fairly quiet. You just barely hear it. Even when you are zooming it out and in, it's fairly quiet. So even though it's got the distinction of L, a lot of people will say, well, it's not truly an L lens. Canon kind of says, well, yeah, it is, because it has all of our coatings, all the stuff we did to our L lenses. So in Canon's eyes, this is an L lens. Now, the one thing I don't like about the camera, I'll get into some other stuff here in a minute. The one thing I don't like about it is you have no way of putting a filter on it. Now it does have built-in ND filter, which is kind of cool. But there is a way, but good luck finding one. It's kind of like the lens cap. I just happened to find one somewhere and purchased it and brought it in, and because I didn't have one to begin with. But anyway, so the rest of the specs: f2.4 to 3.5 video, 640 to 480, 15 frames per second. This is not a video camera. This is a photography camera only, in my opinion. Weight is 1.14 pounds. She hefty. She is heavy. Now I carried this around the other day at college, not far from here. That we went to a college tour. So I'm gonna roll in the footage and the photos from that, and we'll be back in a little bit. So we're on a college tour today, and I brought the Canon Powershot to shoot some pictures around campus. I'm not going to try to keep up with them in their tour. I just don't walk that fast anymore. So I'm going to take pictures with the camera around campus and see how they look. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got something out of it. Now, I will say the battery went dead on the shoot on that day. And I did not take the second battery with me. I only have 2 batteries for this camera. I did not take the battery with me. In case you're wondering, this camera does shoot with a CF card. I have a CF card that takes a SD card. If you're wondering too, well, come on, go back in there. Man, oh man, oh man. I get the SD. We'll leave it out for a second. Then the battery. There's your style of battery it uses for this camera. It's BP511, I think it is. I've got 2 of the batteries. Plus I've got one of the original factory batteries that I keep. I just didn't take any other batteries with me that day. I don't know why I didn't think about grabbing one, but I didn't. The screen on the back, and you do have you have a video feed in the viewfinder, or when the camera's on, you just heard it chirping to life, you have that little screen on the back, which is not great. Does have face tracking. It will track a face. I agree to that. I testify to that. It does. You can run this thing in priority mode, TV mode, AV mode, and you also have manual. You have other presets, of course, video. You do have auto. You have you have 2 customizable selections on the back too. You can do a lot with this camera as far as, you know, setting things up. You can change your f-stop. You can change, you know, all kinds of stuff. Now here's a way of manually focusing. I can't remember. I don't shoot manual focus on this thing. I shoot on automatic focus, but I shoot in aperture priority. Gotten used to it. Pros: comfortable to hold. I agree with that. I'll agree that, you know, it is comfortable to hold. It's got a good thick grip. Now it's not long. You'll see my pinky is hanging off this thing. Relatively quiet. I agree with that. Handy infrared remote. Don't have a remote. Couldn't tell you if it's handy or not. Slow to start up. Remember, this thing came out in 2004 or 2005. Yeah, it's slow to start up. Technology. Come on. Falling behind in micro and movie modes. Yes, 2005. It, you know, wasn't the best, and, you know, still isn't. Pro 1 does not have visible light AF assist lamp. Does it? Well, okay. Now, any other negatives to it? Like it says, the micro is a little bit to be desired. I agree with that part. It seems like it has a little trouble focusing on in micro mode. But you see all the pictures that came out. I'm not, you know, for the technology, for the year, for the everything involved, I'm pretty pleased with the camera itself, you know, as far as what it shoots. It's going to stay in my collection, you know, so I can say I've got a Canon Pro 1, Powershot Pro 1 in my collection. I'm proud of it. I will say this, they can be hard to find. They can be very hard to find. I'll also say they, depending on how good a shape it's in, and this whole thing here has happened since I owned it. I've owned it. I may have hit it and taken a lick. Like I said, I'm going to try to fix that somehow. But finding good ones going to be kind of difficult. Finding, you know, some of them you can get pretty cheap, but there's some issues behind them. I don't know of any issues that are out there. Oh, one more thing I'll throw out there. It does have a hot shoe mount, and it does, let's see, let me get this to come on. Hang on. It does have a built-in flash, as you see. Now, one of the things I did run into the other day when I was shooting outside and everything is it does take a minute to write to the disc, and I've got a fairly fast disc in there. It's just the speed of the processor itself is slow, so you're going to get slow writing speeds. You're not going to get anything super high or fast, what I'm trying to say. But that's it. I'm keeping it in my collection. I think it's pretty cool. I will shoot with it more in the future. Right now I'm going to put it up and hold on to it. So that's my Canon Powershot Pro 1 L lens. See you on the next one, guys. Later.